Hi everyone, in this part of the series of string manipulation videos, we are going to cover these 4 items. So if you're interested in learning these, please continue watching. Alright, welcome back. So let's start off with string replace. String replace replaces the specified substring with a new string, as well as count the occurrences of the pattern meaning the substring. So it's a function, so you can store the output into a new variable called replace string, or whatever variable you name it. Now the first parameter that goes into this function is the haystack, so your string that you're going to perform the string replace function on, and the second parameter is the substring that you're going to put in to be replaced with xyz, which is the new string. Now this parameter contains the output variable that counts the number of occurrences of the substring, right? So in this case there are 1, 2, 3 cases of def, so occurrence is going to contain a value of 3 when this function runs. Now the last parameter is -1. This is by default, so you can take it out, or you can also put in numbers from 1 to whatever to represent how many occurrences of the substring you want to replace. So if I put in a number of 1 here, it's just going to replace the first instance of def, the substring, with xyz. So if I save this and run it, I get a message box because I'm displaying the variable in a message box that says abc xyz xyz xyz. Because I put in -1, it replaced all occurrences of def with xyz, and it displayed a number of 3, which is the number of occurrences of the substring def. Now with this function, you are also able to, if you wished, in your clipboard, if there are line breaks that you want to remove, you can use this line of code to replace all the, so this is carriage return and this is new line feed. So this code will remove all the line breaks if you ever wanted to remove line breaks. Now if you have a series of substrings that you want to replace with another series of new strings, what you can do is you can use a associative objects. So this comes from this post here. Somebody has uploaded how to do this using this method, so I'm just showing you that person's method. So I've got a string, it's a multi-line string that contains a fair bit of number of words, and what I'm doing here is creating an associative array with a key and a value pair, and there's 3 of them, and what the key and the values will represent are that the key is going to be the substring and the values are going to be the strings, the new strings that you're going to replace the substring with. So this is going to be replaced with that. I can also put in the quotation mark here, and that's not a must for texts, but you can put that in as well. Even for numbers, it's not a must. But if you say, for example, have $500 with a $sign like that, you do have to put in the quotation mark. Now, so this is going to replace with that. So we've got with this is going to replace with that, and also any other instances. I think this is this way, so this is going to be replaced with that as well. And this, notice how there's a space here, and that's because if you don't put the space in, this part will also be replaced with you as well. So we're going to replace we space with you space. So this is gonna be replaced with you are able to, and just let's see if there's anything we are going to, so this is going to be replaced with you as well as the $500 will be replaced with $250. So $500 will be replaced with 250. So we've got a for loop here where it's going to loop through the associative arrays elements, and it's going to make I represent the keys, make J represent the values for those keys, and it's going to perform a string replace, and the string is going to be the string that we're creating here, the multi-line string. Substring that goes into it is the I, so in the first iteration of the loop it's going to be this, and then J is going to be that. So this is going to be replaced with that. within the string, and that string will be stored back into the string. So it's just going to replace the values and then store the result back into the string variable. And it's going to go through all these elements, key value pairs. So there's going to be 3 iterations of the loop, 1, 2, 3. And so if I run this, the result I'm going to get is the string with the key exchange with the value. So we've got with that, so it used to be with this, but now we've got with that, and then we has been replaced with you, and $500 has been replaced with 250, and here we has been replaced with you, so on and so forth. So this is a method you can employ to perform a string replace across multiple key value pairs, multiple substrings and new strings. Now, by default, in AutoHotkey, the string matches will be case insensitive. So what I mean by that is, I will show you by an example. I've got this old example that I'm going to bring over. So this one. So if I change this to DEF in capital letters, this is still going to be able to replace all the DEFs in small letters. So as you can see, the function has successfully identified the small letter DEFs and replaced with XYZ, and that's because the case sensitivity is turned off by default. So case sensitivity can be adjusted using the StringCaseSense command. So if I turn on the case sensitivity for the strings, and you put that on top before you run the function. So now if I run this function, it is not going to replace DEFs because we're looking for capital letter DEFs, right? And if I turn this off, which is by default, these will be replaced with the XYZs. Now locale, so you've got locale here. I haven't tried this, but apparently what it does is it's going to use the current user's locale. So for example, A and Z that don't have these little dots on top will be considered the same as those letters that do have the little dots on top, so the 2 dots. But I haven't tried it. In fact, maybe I can try that out. I can change this to A and make it go at sign. Let's see what we get. So A has been replaced with an at sign, and if I did that, so if I put in the A with the 2 dots on top, let's see if that works. No, it doesn't work. So in my locale, it doesn't replace the small letter A with the capital letter A with the 2 dots on top. Let me see if I can turn this off and see if that would change. No, it doesn't change. So this doesn't apply to me, so I can't advise you on this part. Now, so that's the StringCaseSense. Let me erase all of this. All right, so next up we've got InStr. So InStr stands for InStr, and it finds the position of the match within the string. So this is the syntax, and I've got an example here. Now, the last parameter here refers to the occurrence, which is 1 by default, and it refers to the first match for the default value. Now, if you put a number such as 2, then it's going to find the second match, and 3 will be the third match, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the haystack, and this is the needle, and this is the case sensitivity. You can put 1. I think 1 is for case sensitive, and 0 is case non-sensitive. And if you don't put anything in, then that's going to be not case sensitive. And this parameter here is the starting position. By default, it's 1. But if you put in a number higher than 1, then it's going to start from the position that represents that number within the string. So number 2 is going to start from this 1, 2. So it's going to start just before O. That's going to be the second position. And number 5 will be 3, 4, 5. So before H. Now, so what this is going to do, it's going to find the match, and that's going to be the second match which is going to be this value here, and get the position of that match, which is going to be here. So it's going to count the number of characters beginning from here, this being the first, and we'll count the number of characters and display the result in a message box. So the results get saved into found pass variable, and then we'll display the result. And I'm running a quick if function to see if the string does exist, because if it does exist, it's going to return a value greater than 0, otherwise a value of 0. So if I run this, it will return a value of 39, which is going to be the position of the second match of the term exists. Now, what do we have? We've got substring. What substring does is it will pull out a subset of the string that you provide. So this is the entire string you're providing, and then the number 4 here represents the starting position of the string that you're going to pull out, and this represents the length of the string you're going to pull out. So 4 means this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll start from A and it will pull out 3 characters. So it's going to pull out ABC. So I'll show you the result later in the message box. And the second example we've got is this lengthy line, which is going to get stored into this string variable, and we're going to perform a few things. So first, substring function, we are going to start from the first position, which is here, and then pull out the first 28 characters. So it's going to pull out something like this much. Now, if you don't put in the second parameter and put a negative value in the first parameter, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up the last 17 characters if you put in a negative value of 17, right? And the next one is if you start from the first position, but if you put in a negative value in the second parameter, it's going to display all of this minus 10 characters from the back. So it's going to be something like this much. So let's go ahead and run this. So first result we get is ABC, because we are pulling out starting from A, we're pulling out the next 3 characters, and the second one is going to show us the first 28 characters within this string, and then negative 17 will give us the last 17 characters. And then negative 10, if you put in the starting position as 1 and negative 10, it will give us the entire string minus the last 10 characters. All right, so I've got another example, just a quick one before we go. So this example I've got is sort of like a real life example, which uses InStr and Substr functions to pull out information from the HTML page. So I'm going to use Google as my input, as my haystack, and I'm going to extract this value here. I'm feeling lucky. And if I go to view source of this page, this is the HTML code of that page that we were looking at just now. And then within here, there's going to be I'm feeling lucky somewhere. So I'm feeling lucky is right here. So let's say this is a variable and I'm trying to grab this value here that sits inside this. Now, in order to do that, there are many ways that you can go about doing this, but one way that I can show you is that I'm going to use this as my needle 1. So you can see that the needle 1 is set up as that, and then the text that comes after the value that I want, aria label, is my needle 2. So how this is going to be used is if I copy all of this and Control C to copy everything into my clipboard. So it's being copied into my clipboard, right? So all of this, it becomes my haystack that gets fed into this InStr function. And what we're trying to determine here, this str begin is a string beginning. So needle 1 here, that's going to be the beginning of the string that I'm going to extract. Now, so when I do a match of needle 1 within the haystack, it's going to find this out and find the position of the beginning of the needle. So here, just before input. Now that's going to be stored as a number. And then I'm going to find the end of the string that I want. So, and that's going to use also InStr, and haystack is going to be the input. And then needle2 is going to be the needle that I'm going to search for. Now this is case sensitivity. So I'm just going to put nothing in there because I don't mind it being case insensitive. And STR beginning is the starting position. So it's going to start from here and look for this area label equal sign, which is the needle2. So if I don't start from here, there might be another area label equal sign elsewhere before this part of the string kicks in the HTML code, in which case I'm not going to be able to pull out this I'm feeling lucky text. So, and substring here, you can see what this substring is doing is it's pulling out from the haystack the HTML code, and it's going to begin from str beginning, which is the position of the position around here just before the input. And then I'm adding the length of needle1. So what that does is it's going to make the starting position right here. So it's going to start from here, but I'm adding the length of the needle, so it's actually gonna start from just before this quotation mark before I'm feeling lucky. And then it's going to pull out how many characters it's going to pull out. It's going to use the string end, which is going to be around here, and it's going to minus str beginning. So it's going to calculate a number, which is the position of this letter here, and then deduct the position of this letter. So we're going to be left with a length of about this much. And then we're also going to subtract this str len of needle1, which is from here to there. So it's going to only pull out this much. And so on, that gets displayed in the message box like that. So if I go ahead and run this, I'm going to get I'm feeling lucky extracted like that. So if you're passing a HTML code, this is the way you can do by using the AutoHotkey command or functions. All right, this is it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part.